So many times people struggle with shooting a bear, and you would think that it should be easy to put out some bait and bring in a bear and shoot that bear. It's just not that easy. It's so difficult, especially to get male bears, adult mature bears on your bait during legal shooting hours is one of the toughest things that there is to do in hunting. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make is not paying attention to how the bear views the bait and feels about the bait when it comes. And I use the term make bears comfortable, and that seems kind of strange, but let me kind of get into it and explain what I mean by that and how important it is for getting those bigger bears in, and particularly getting those mature bears to come in during the daylight. Now, it starts with the very moment that you choose your bait site. We talk a lot, and there's plenty of videos on my channel about how to find general location and where the bears are going to move through and the importance of water and terrain and so forth. There's lots of videos on that. But when it comes to specific location, here's something that a lot of people don't think about, and that is that you have to give those bears a sense of security. They're simply not going to trade what they need in their stomach for their life. And you have to think of it that way, that they're just not going to risk their life to get, no matter how good your bait is, they're not going to risk their life to get it. So when you choose your bait location, you want a location where the bears feel a sense of security, both as they're approaching it and as they are feeding it at the bait. So a big part of that is stick cover. You know, you got to give your bears a chance to approach the bait with the security of cover. They don't like to walk through open areas in the daylight, and that means if they got to cross a field or a clearing, you know, they might cross a logging road, or they might cross a power line cut or whatever, but they're not going to cross a big open area. They're not going to go through a big canopy of old mature trees where there isn't much ground cover. They're just not going to do it. You got to give them that sense of security so that they can approach the bait feeling comfortable doing so. And then when they're at the bait, they have to feel like they're safe there. You've got to create an environment of safety at the bait, and that not only includes the heavy cover, but it also is important. The amount of scent that you leave at the bait is important. How often you're visiting the bait is important. They're gonna figure out your ground scent. They're gonna know when you were there last, because they're gonna smell where you walked in and where you walked out, and you've got to reduce your scent to create that comfort level. Another important component about creating an environment where there's a level of safety for the bears is consistency. It's really good to be consistent with your baiting about the same time, with the types of baits you use. Just don't make any radical changes in the types of baits. Use the same scent spray each time that you bait. And hey, the bears are going to pattern you, so you might as well make it easy for them, I guess you could say, so they feel like they're in charge. So think of it this way: there is a package of scents and sights and smells that the bear encounters each time he comes to the bait. And the more consistent that package is, the more safe they will feel. Consistency equals comfort level. Inconsistency reduces the comfort level. A really big mistake that people make when they're hunting these bears is they've done most everything right, and then it's opening day and they're ready to go get in the stand, and they're thinking, okay, I'm just going to pull out all the stops. I'm going to add extra scent today. Maybe I'm going to do a honey burn or something like that. And what you've done is you just radically changed that package that bear is expecting when he comes to the bait, and he hasn't smelled that smell before, and he's just going to hang up. It's pretty unlikely that he's going to come in when things have just radically changed after all this time of being consistent. So keep that in mind. Consistency is a really important component to creating a comfortable environment where they feel safe. And of course, then you've got to have quality bait so that they feel the need, so they're going to want to keep coming back. So these are all things that are important, that you got to keep all this in mind, that The mature bears, they have to feel that sense of security. They have to feel comfortable when they come to your bait site, and they'll keep coming back. And if you're doing it right, you might even turn nocturnal bears into daytime bears just by the fact that each time they come back, they're a little more comfortable. They had a good experience. They got something good to eat. They didn't feel unsafe at any time. And they'll slowly work their way up. I've seen this over and over again where you got bears that are coming in a half an hour or an hour after dark. Each time they come back, you know, they had a good experience. They didn't feel threatened in any way. And next thing you know, they're coming back right at dark, and then they're coming back a half an hour before dark, and then an hour before dark, and then you got a chance to kill them. So keep those bears comfortable, choose your bait site locations, and use your baiting strategy. Always keeping that in mind, that you want to keep those bears that they don't have a feeling of being threatened at any time.